turnover of the logo of the car from Singapore Democratic Party to the Liberal Party of the Sri Lanka. And later on, I will ask both of them to say a few words. Okay. On behalf of the Dr. Xu Sun-Quan, I'd like to ask Mr. Lin to say a few
words. Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to represent the Singapore Democratic Party, the current chair, no more the current chair of the Council of Asian Liberals and Democrats, in this auspicious occasion of handing over the mantle of CALD chair to the Sri Lankan Liberal Party. Since SDP's main leaders are either unable to travel abroad due to political bankruptcies or ongoing court cases, it has fallen on my shoulders that of my charming colleague Jesslyn Goh will represent our party here. Despite the fact that our leaders are barred from traveling abroad, SDP was not found wanting in playing its role as chair of CALD. This was because of the able and capable guidance of the Manila-based CALD Secretariat, in particular Dr. Nerik, who was heading the Secretariat until recently. Dr. Nerik, as you all know, is contesting the forthcoming elections in the Philippines, and on behalf of SDP and the other members of CALD, we wish him best of luck and hope to see him as an elected senator attending our future meetings. I also take this opportunity to register our deep appreciation to FNF for his continued support of CALD since its founding and the foundation's sponsorship of our various meaningful projects that have benefited our members tremendously. In keeping with the objectives of CALD, let's all work towards championing the cause of freedom and democracy whenever these lofty ideals are denied to the people. In particular, the Burmese military regime, the Hun Sen government in Cambodia, and not forgetting the authoritarian regime in Singapore, are continuing to deny their people these basic rights of human dignity. CALD should not let up in its attempt to lend support to these unfortunate victims of oppression in our midst. In Sri Lanka, the country has just emerged from a prolonged period of internal armed conflict that lasted for more than 25 years. Let's hope that this beautiful island nation that was once hailed as the Pearl of the East would emerge from this bitter experience to reclaim its rightful place in the community of nations, in particular CALD, in which the Sri Lanka Liberal Party is one of the active members. I sincerely hope, CALD is most welcome to hold one of its annual events in Singapore. I can assure you that despite our political persecution and oppression, the SDP will be able to play its role as your host to the best of our ability and to your satisfaction. Thank you.
I think all of us want to send our best regards and support to Dr. Xu Sun-Quan and Singapore Democratic Party. Now I would like to invite Dr. Rajiva to have an acceptance speech.
Thank you very much, Mei-Sing. I'm very delighted that you should come to Sri Lanka for this occasion, because we were here some years ago as well. And you're probably the person whom I remember from the very first CALD meetings 17 years ago, when we went, sorry, you know, when you and I were 10 years old. You remember. I think we first met in 1995 in Taiwan, and I was at the first meeting. Not only 1 year younger than you, but really different. But anyway, it's always wonderful to see you, and I'm glad so many old friends are here. It is sad that Dr. Chi cannot be with us, but thank you very much for representing him. It is ironic that the handover should be on this occasion from Singapore to Sri Lanka, to results of British colonialism, unlike our three predecessors, as called in the last cycle. Some of you may recall that when Mr. Lee Kuan Yew took over as Prime Minister in the 50s, he said he wanted to develop a country that was at least half as good as Sri Lanka, which was in those days a very prosperous country. We, of course, have gone down, and Singapore went up. Many people think it went up wonderfully, but I think we know that it also went up at a price. Whether that price is worth paying is something to consider. I was about to say, but let me say, he whose name should not be spoken in accordance with the Harry Potter books had suggested that the situation in Sri Lanka is far worse with regard to human rights than in Singapore. I think it's true that in many respects some of our countries are better than others. In other respects we are worse. But listening again to Sylvester talking about his leaders in jail, the constant jailing, the superbly sophisticated use of a legal system to stifle dissent, the way in which purportedly democratic elections are also a form of, let us say, pork barrel politics and so on, is something that perhaps not many people are aware of. And I think it's a tribute to Dr. Chi and the Singapore Democratic Party that we are all well aware of this. We know that CALD is a very interesting group because we come from very different political backgrounds. We have very different problems to face. We have some countries that have solid democratic traditions, but as we know from our friends in Thailand, where the Democrat Party has done a great job over so many years, there are constant hiccups. And the hiccups always in Thailand take a different form. There used to be militarism in the 70s. You now have this extraordinary phenomenon of Mr. Thaksin, who has actually managed to extend his empire even to Italy, let alone Cambodia. You know. So you have elements where we have different struggles that we have to face. The Philippines, which had a terrible time for 20 years, emerged in 1986 and has done reasonably well, but we also know that you had problems in the last 7 years. And those difficulties have to be overcome. Similarly in Sri Lanka, we do have problems. We hope that we will be able to move now to a better future. You can rest assured that we will do our best to make sure that it is a fully liberal, pluralistic, democratic future in which human rights are upheld, but also, very importantly, the open economy. One of the problems we face, because we are a very democratic country from the 40s to the 70s, but unlike Singapore, we went down all the way. That wasn't because of democracy. I think democracy was important. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew may say Sri Lanka was too democratic, but that is not something that can ever be the case. We cannot be too democratic. But we did have a statist socialist dispensation. And the result was that we didn't develop economically. And that led to the problems that also led to a crisis of democracy in the 70s. So we need now to move forward economically, socially, and politically. I think we have a great opportunity here, and I look forward very much to the support of all of you in doing so. I welcome discussions like today. I welcome questions, because I think we all need, all of us, whether it be the established democratic parties or others, to be kept on our toes. But we must do it in a spirit of positive friendship and moving forward in solidarity and togetherness. I'm very pleased that CALD is having an education conference, because sometimes, like Plato, I think that many of the problems we face are due to ignorance. Ignorance of the ultimate virtues of a liberal democratic system. So I hope we can move to that as soon as possible. Thank you very much.